Good morning. Today is February 14th, 2022, and this is Mondays on the Mount. More than 340 million Christians, which is 1 in 8, face high levels of persecution and discrimination because of their faith. That's according to the 2021 World Watch List compiled by the Christian group Open Doors. And this problem has only gotten worse due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The report says that Christians in numerous countries in Africa and Asia have been refused COVID-related aid, at times by government officials, but often by village heads or committees. For instance, in Kaduna, Nigeria, families from several villages reported receiving 1/6 of the rations allocated to Muslim families. In China, the government has increased surveillance with facial recognition systems installed in state-approved churches. In some areas, online churches are monitored as well. The report says that the government's campaign against Christianity has meant crosses and other Christian imagery have been replaced with images of President Xi Jinping, national flags, and even at times, communist officials have been selecting church leaders. To learn more, we've linked the report in the description below. For most of us living in the United States, it's unlikely that we will ever experience extreme persecution. But no matter the degree, what should our posture be when we face persecution? Jesus addresses this question in the Sermon on the Mount. He knows that his disciples will be persecuted, and he wants to encourage them when it happens. And so here's what Jesus says: "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven." Now, here are 3 principles to remember when we experience persecution. First, remember that righteousness may lead to persecution. When I was in elementary school, there was a poster in my class that said, "What is right is not always popular, and what is popular is not always right." I think there's an underlying message behind that statement, which is that when we pursue righteousness, we can expect to go against the grain. And when that happens, we have to be prepared for that to be unpopular. Second, persecution is not about you. It's about Jesus. Paradoxically, persecution can lead to Jesus being glorified. I remember years ago reading a book called Jesus Freaks. It was written to share stories about those who gave their lives for the sake of the gospel. Now, in each of the stories, heartbreaking as they were, Christ was on display. Third, persecution does not have to be extreme to be used by God. When we live fully for Christ, people may not approve, and devotion to Jesus can sometimes lead to being marginalized from other people. But if that happens, we need to remember that Jesus promises a great reward for those who suffer for him. And so today, I encourage you to continue on me with our journey as we work on memorizing the Sermon on the Mount. Today, we're going to be focusing on verses 1 through 12. "And seeing the multitudes, he went up on the mountain. And when he sat down, his disciples came to him, and he opened his mouth and he taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets before you." Thanks for tuning in this week for Mondays on the Mount.